Why do you think child abuse is still such a taboo subject, especially in communities of color?
If and I've been talking to people, and some of the people I've talked to have been molested. So there are several reasons why it's swept under the rug and prevalent in the urban community. One is the person who's being molested sometimes is scared to come forward. It could have been their mother's boyfriend or her husband or, a sibling that did this. And no one wants to come forward with that. One, they don't want to be embarrassed and ridiculed and talked about. And sometimes they're not even believed. So it's been, so they really try to hide that. And I found in talking to people, if it's a a man that's been molested by another man, that's something that he may take to his grave because then his sexuality is questioned, manhood questioned. There's such a stigma put on that. Then they're not going to come forward. And when it comes to a male being molested by a female, the male may feel, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I just had sex with her.
Hmm.
But rape is rape. You know what I mean? They justify, people tend to justify things in their mind to try to cope with it, which I did. I turned to alcohol, drugs, and everything. I was blaming myself for a long time until I started writing this book and understood that it wasn't my fault. But I blamed myself is one of the reasons why I didn't come forward as well to talk about it. Oh, I should have done this and it would have happened. If I would have done this, it wouldn't have happened. That's commonplace in a mentality of someone who's being abused. So there's a lot of reasons why this is still prevalent in the urban society, but we need to open up the dialogue. And that's another thing. There's no dialogue. They're not being schooled on how to stop this from happening. And if it is happening, you have to tell somebody. You have to find somebody you can trust, a teacher, a friend, a neighbor, a relative. There's somebody in your life that you can trust and tell so you can stop this from happening. And until we address this as an issue and have some open communication, it's going to continue to be prevalent in the urban area.
Pushplaypods.com